All right, we're gonna start the ordinance committee. Jimmy, you want to open us in prayer?
Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this opportunity to serve. Guide each person that's here. Help us to be making decisions.
Amen. Or we can just yeah, we'll just wait. All right, I'm down for twice. That's fine. Let's do it.
Pledge allegiance to the
flag
flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, starting out is resolution number R 25-26. Be it resolved by the Quorum Court of Garland County, State of Arkansas, a resolution to be entitled, a resolution of the Quorum Court of Garland County, Arkansas, authorizing the Circuit Court Division II judge to apply for fiscal year 2026 Bind State Crisis Intervention Program grant totaling $42,500 on behalf of the Division II Court.
Move to adopt.
Second.
I think it was, no, was that you?
Second was Alan.
Oh, Ed, sorry. All right. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Resolution number R 25-26 passes. All right, resolution number R 25-27. Be it resolved by the Quorum Court of Garland County, State of Arkansas, a resolution to be entitled, a resolution authorizing an interlocal agreement for animal control services between Garland County and City of Hot Springs.
Move for two pet.
Any discussion? All right, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Resolution number R 25-27 is a pass. Resolution number R 25-28. Be it resolved by the Quorum Court of Garland County, State of Arkansas, a resolution to be entitled, a resolution authorizing an interlocal agreement for imaging services between Garland County and the City of Hot Springs.
Move to adopt.
Second.
All right, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Resolution number R 25-28 passes. Ordinance number 25-23, be it enacted by the Quorum Court of Garland County, State of Arkansas, an ordinance to be entitled, an ordinance to amend ordinance 024-31 that obligated the remaining American Rescue Plan Act ARPA funds on the books of the county and to declare an emergency.
Move for two pet.
Question on to declare an emergency, as far as that goes, is that the ability to declare an emergency as a county?
Yeah,
From what maybe the state would be doing if we,
it just means it's immediate.
Otherwise, there's a time frame that you're
to do. Okay, thank you.
It's not that declaration, emergency declaration.
time frame set aside to make sure it's early in 60 days included.
Before, okay, thank
All right, did you get those? All right.
you.
All right. All, any other discussion? All right, all in favor? All opposed, same sign. Ordinance number 025-23 is a pass. Appropriation ordinance number 025-24. Be it enacted by the Quorum Court of Garland County, State of Arkansas, an ordinance to be entitled, an ordinance to amend the 2025 Garland County Budget Ordinance 024-33 to anticipate revenues, appropriate, unappropriate, and transfer funds in various budgets and for other purposes.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Floyd, were you the second?
Yes.
Yep. All right, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. All right, appropriation ordinance number 025-24 passes. Appropriation ordinance number 025-25 be enacted by the Quorum Court of Garland County, State of Arkansas, an ordinance to be entitled, an ordinance to establish the annual operating budget for the calendar year 2026.
Second.
All right, any discussion?
I'm gonna have some comments on this budget. I don't entirely agree with this particular budget, but I don't know if it'd be better to save those comments until it gets to the quorum court or to address it at this time.
Yes, customarily, the comment, this is just over the wording of this appropriation ordinance. So if there's a comment out of place, anything like that, you
Quorum court, okay,
yes, sir.
all right, fine.
Just so once we get it on the floor, once we get 025-25 on the floor in front of the quorum court, then we'll have an opportunity for discussion. And I think that would be the best time for you to speak to it at that time.
Very well, thank you.
And any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Appropriation ordinance number 025-25 receives a pass. All right. And that's it. We are adjourned.
Call the December meeting, last meeting of 2025, the Garland County Quorum Court to order. Opening prayer will be delivered tonight by Chaplain Alan Coker from Gentiva Hospice. Alan, thank you for being here tonight with us.
Let's pray together. Our Father in heaven, may your name be recognized as holy. Father, we come before you and we recognize that you alone are sovereign and that you are the source from which all government is derived. And we just acknowledge your presence in this meeting tonight. Lord, I pray for this group of individuals who preside over our county. I ask that you would give them wisdom and understanding about the issues at hand. I pray that you would give them discretion, Lord, as they carry out their duties. And Lord, may each individual represent the constituents in his or her district, and may they all work together to bring about the desired end that will be a blessing and a benefit to the residents of this county. Lord, we pray that you would bless Garland County and the residents that reside here, and help us, Lord, to have peace and a sense of community, spirit, pride. And Lord, we pray that everything would be to our benefit in this place. We thank you for all the many gifts that you have given to us, all the blessings that you bestowed on us in this year. Thank you for bringing us to the end of another year as we look forward to a new year beginning. We pray all of this in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Alan. Sarah, would you please call the roll?
Justice Broughton. Anderson.
Here.
Jones. Here. Young.
Here.
Bales.
Here.
Hooten.
Here.
Myers.
Here.
Floyd.
Here.
Peters. McGrew. Here. Hunter.
Here.
Brown.
Here.
Ed.
Thank you. Justice Peters playing delayed a little bit today. Him and his boys went to Buffalo to see a ball game. It was snowing. When he went to leave, it was snowing. And I think everybody saw a video of the snowing. And even the game was played in snow. And so I texted him later this afternoon, and he said that they had got held up a little while, so he didn't think they'd be arriving until 8 o'clock. So he's going to miss tonight's meeting. Chair will entertain a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
So moved. Second.
Motion made by Justice Broughton, second by Justice Hunter. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Anyone wishing to speak to anything on the agenda? Mr. Fleming? Bob, are you wanting to speak to something on the agenda tonight? Yeah. Okay. Yes, sir. The ordinance for the budget. Okay. I believe Justice Hooten wants to speak to that as well. Chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Motion made by Justice Anderson,
Second.
second by
I'll second.
Justice Young. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Exhibits A through E. Cash operations, statement of operations, finance committee meetings, special finance committee meetings, and then ordinance committee meeting. Chair will entertain a motion to approve those exhibits.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Justice Brown, second by Justice McGrew. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Committee reports, ordinance committee, Justice Broughton.
Yes, Judge, we met prior to this meeting and everything received a pass.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Environmental Services, Public Works and Buildings. I know you didn't have a meeting, but you might have
Did not.
something to report.
Did not meet, but we did have a groundbreaking for the Senior Citizen Center, and that was wonderful.
Thank you, Justice
We're
Young.
underway. Thank you, Judge.
Finance Committee, Justice McGrew.
Judge, we met on December 1st and all items received a due pass.
Thank you. Human Resources Committee, Justice Anderson.
Judge, did not meet.
Thank you. Public Health, Welfare, and Safety Committee, Justice Myers.
Judge Mahoney, we did not meet.
Thank you. IT Committee, Justice Jones.
We had new business and we did not.
Thank you. You've almost made it through a year of something you said you couldn't do. All right, Sarah, if you would please read R2526 by, excuse me, I missed something here. Chair will entertain a motion to approve the committee reports for tonight.
So moved.
Motion made. Justice Broughton made the motion. Justice Brown made the second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Now, Sarah, would you please read R2526 by title only?
Be it resolved by the Quorum Court of Garland County, State of Arkansas, a resolution to be entitled, a resolution of the Quorum Court of Garland County, Arkansas, authorizing the Circuit Court Division 2 judge to apply for a fiscal year 2026 Burn State Crisis Intervention Program grant totaling $42,500 on behalf of the Division 2 Court.
Move to adopt R25-26.
So moved. Second.
Motion made by Justice Myers, second by Justice Henderson. Any discussion?
Can you explain this to us? What this actually is, or what we plan
So
to
this is juvenile court. It's Judge Dyer. It's what they call the Jumps and CEAS programs for youth and neglected youth. It's sometimes on Tuesday night, sometimes when we're here, they have a meeting back here in the back room, and it's a program for youth, troubled youth that juvenile administrates, and it's a grant to be able to follow through on that. If they don't get the grant, then we don't have the funding to do those jumps and season. I don't remember exactly what those acronyms stand for, but it's programs for juvenile court. And this is basically letting her know that she can go ahead and apply for it, so that in the event it comes in, we can fund it out of OMH and then get reimbursed.
Okay, thank you. It's a really good program for troubled kids in our schools, mainly teenagers. So it's a good program.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. All right, Sarah, R2527, by title only.
Be it resolved by the Quorum Court of Garland County, State of Arkansas, a resolution to be entitled, a resolution authorizing an interlocal agreement for animal control services between Garland County and City of Hot Springs.
Move to adopt R2527.
Second.
Motion made by Justice Brown, second by Justice Hunter. Any discussion? The sheriff and chief of police work together on this, and they have been providing our animal control services. I think since about 2014 that they've been providing at this level. Is that right, Sheriff?
Yes, and it's been going very well.
Okay. It's very difficult in rural areas of Garland County to get there sometimes before the dogs are gone, but they have been doing a very good job of trying to attend to them. And I know the shelter is crowded all the time out there for sure. Any other discussion? Yes, sir.
Judge, the $10 tax on there that's voluntary. I've been wanting to know how do you know how much was collected, or Susan? I see Rebecca's not here this year on that.
I believe that our collections, and I don't have the numbers in front of me, so I think it's about 110,000 a year. And we provide both we've stepped up our spay and neuter game, and we provide the spay and neuter, and then we also match through the City of Hot Springs. We've matched what the adoption fees are. Whatever they take in adoption fees, we match that for the program at Animal Services. Now, I still haven't got a contact yet from Ivy Wood from Garland County Humane Society, but we found a mobile spay and neuter clinic that can come in, and I talked to Dr. Brian just a little bit about it. They could come in for, say, X number of dollars and do, let's just say maybe they do 50 spay and neuter on that day. So you're not set them up, say, at the fairgrounds. And so we advertise it, we put it on social media, we bring it in there, and maybe we have to pay the same thing that we're providing with the voucher, and they pay $20 or something of that nature. But I think that gives us those extra precautions against the expanding population of pets that we have now. And that's the only way we're ever going to get in front of it, is to try to step up our beginning game. And I think that would be something, not to do away with any of the spay and neuter vouchers we do now, but to set up that program for maybe 3 times a year, have them come in once in the spring and set up in different areas of the county. Maybe once at the fairgrounds, once out near Lake Hamilton School, once on the north side, maybe up there by the Boys and Girls Club or something, where we can provide that service. And all they really have to have is someplace covered that they can keep the dogs and cats in until they come out of the anesthesia. Then they send them right back home. And I know everybody I've talked to, it's a very well organized program, and they do a significant number of pets each time they set up. So I would love to be able to do that as well.
Another question from that same original question. Before we had the spay and neuter involved, we were putting that $10 collection fully against this cost to the county. Not anything against spay and neuter. We need that. And do you know what was left? How much is being applied now against this budget?
I can tell you what the balance is in that account right now. But the balance in that account right now is $442,705.
Not in the tax.
That's in the spay and neuter voucher account. That's where all of that funding goes to, is into this program. Wow. And we use it for like I say, the match on the spay and neuter program.
If I'm not wrong about that $10 tax going against the cost of us doing business with the city.
We could do that. I think the reason we did not initially is because we didn't have much confidence in the level of funding that was going to come to us. It was kind of, since it's voluntary, we didn't know about it. Recurring revenue, would that meet recurring expense? And we can certainly do that, but I would prefer trying to step up our game going towards spay and neuter and try to wipe out some more of the beginning population. But yes, sir, we can use it in any number of ways pertaining to that.
Excuse me for not understanding. If there's 400,000 that's been collected, is accumulated from the $10 voluntary tax
over the whole period,
are we not applying that yearly collection outside of what spay and neuter is costing us to offset the cost of the county?
We're using this to also fund the match on the adoption fees. And that varies. Whatever the adoption fees are that the city does, we use it for that. But we never set it up to be for that recurring expense. It was always for spay and neuter, and we also do that. Now we can, like I say, we can go back and review that next year. If we have some confidence in what it's going to bring in, we can certainly put part of it aside. But I would like to have the ability, and I know Larry Rainey was always a proponent of also chipping, trying to chip the animals as well. And I know my neighbor, a dog went up there and just showed up. We didn't know from the neighborhood. He took it in and had a chip and went back home. So that's a good way to recover. It's also a good way to find out who's dumping dogs if they're chipped. But I think that we should look at next year. We should look at what we can do is expanding that and providing some of it towards that. That's not a problem.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, Judge, I don't know about the chipping. I don't know how much that costs. I'd like to see the numbers, but I'd love the idea of using some of that money that we've got in that fund balance to do that mobile spay and neuter clinic. If we could get on that sometime first quarter, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, so you know Ivy Wood, don't you? So I met with her a couple of times, and I'd like to meet with her and get a program put together so I can get some costs as to what it's going to take, and I'll bring it back to maybe Public Health Welfare Safety Committee, and we'll discuss it and get a fee set for what we know we're going to have to spend for it, and set it aside for that going into next year. And then for the 27 budget, we might look at, if the fund is up there like it is, we might look at using that to offset the cost of the animal control rather than using our.
I thought that was the original goal when we first set up the co-existence with the city.
So I think that until now we didn't have. I know that like in Saline County, their fund has not produced hardly anything, but here it has, and we didn't have a lot of confidence in it then. But we can certainly look at it because that's all it can be used for is animal control of some type.
As recall, one of the first years after we joined the city, that we had collected 72,000 one year, And I think
It's been better, and it's been consistent, but I don't have the numbers from this year because Rebecca's not here. She had a family emergency, but I'll get those and I'll put together on the mobile spay and neuter to see if we can do that and see what that would cost, and then bring it to committee and we'll figure it out. And hopefully for the budget in 27, we can look at least part of that to deplete the fund balance, knowing that we have to come back to that.
yeah, if it's growing to an extent way above what the other programs we're paying for,
Absolutely.
I think we should apply.
Have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Good discussion, by the way. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Sarah, would you please read R2528 by title only?
Be it resolved by the Quorum Court of Garland County, State of Arkansas, resolution to be entitled, a resolution authorizing an interlocal agreement for imaging services between Garland County and City of Hot Springs.
Move to adopt R2528.
Second.
Motion made by Justice Brown, second by Justice Floyd. Any discussion? This is
Yeah. On this one, I happen to notice that this is one of the ones I kind of earmarked. There's aerial imaging services that the assessor's office has, and it's $83,000 a year, and it has been that up for several years. However, after looking at this, they're reimbursed some of that money by the city because they also use it. The other thing I looked at too was the fact that a lot of counties do it by GIS, but the problem, which might be cheaper, except when I started comparing different counties' budgets, they have like a GIS supervisor, they have a GIS imaging analyst, and so by the time you do all that, this is actually more cost efficient, even though $83,000 a year sounds like a lot. When you look at it comparatively speaking with other counties, it is not. And I was glad to see this because the county obviously is not going to put the whole 83,000. They got some of that taken away by the city. So, and that's just what I found. I thought people.
Yes, sir. I think it's been cost effective, and I believe that they've got a pretty good history here of not charging any more for it. I think we've had a pretty consistent rate on it, and it's been very cost effective, and they've got a very good program. Some of the stuff that the imaging that they've done is fantastic. You can see a lot on it. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. All right, Sarah, ordinance 02523. I think you got to read the whole thing on this one.
Be it enacted by the Quorum Court of Garland County, State of Arkansas, an ordinance to be entitled, an ordinance to amend ordinance 02431 that obligated the remaining American Rescue Plan Act funds on the books of the county and to declare an emergency. Section 1, affirmation. This court affirms the requirement of the U.S. Treasury to obligate any remaining ARPA funds on the books of the county by December 31st, 2024 for expenditure on or before December 31st, 2026. This court is cognizant of the definition of obligation in the final rule to mean an order placed for property and services and entering into contracts, subawards, and similar transactions that require payment. Similar transactions for county governments in the state of Arkansas include an obligation made through the precepts of a county ordinance, with ordinance being defined as an enactment of compulsory law for a quorum court that defines and establishes a system of principles for the control and conduct of county affairs. Section 2, obligation. The following is Garland County's obligation of ARPA funds in the amount of $552,289.27 to be expended on or before December 31st, 2026 and appropriated as needed. Said ARPA dollars received through the state and local fiscal recovery fund are obligated for the following expenditures: other services and charges, other professional services, ARPA compliance counseling, $125,523.60, computer software, case management software, $163,530.35, total other services and charges, $289,000. $53.95, Capital outlay, construction in progress, A1 project, $253,235.32. Total capital outlay, $253,235.32. Transfers out, interfund transfers out, $10,000. Total transfers out, $10,000. Total 2026 ARP budget, $552,289.27. Section 3, legislative intent is the sole intent of this ordinance, which is compulsory law to obligate the remaining ARPA funds held in the county treasury for the purposes listed in Article 2. Section 4, declaration of emergency. The U.S. Treasury has mandated that any unspent ARPA funds held by this county must be obligated no later than December 31st, 2024, and expensed on or before December 31st, 2026. And in order to facilitate that mandate without error, an emergency is declared to exist, and this emergency ordinance is effective immediately upon passage by the Quorum Court and approval by the county judge pursuant to Arkansas Code annotated 1414-908.
Judge, I move we suspend the rules and place ordinance 02523 on its second reading by title only.
Second.
Motion made by Justice Brown, second by Justice Broughton, to suspend the rules and place it 02523 on its second reading by title only. Sarah, please call the roll.
Justice Broughton?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Young?
Yes.
Bales?
Yes.
Hooten?
Yes.
Myers?
Yes.
Floyd?
Yes.
McGrew?
Yes.
Hunter?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Eds?
Yes.
And Sarah, please read 02523 by title only.
Be it enacted by the Quorum Court of Garland County, State of Arkansas, an ordinance to be entitled, an ordinance to amend ordinance 02431 that obligated the remaining American Rescue Plan funds on the books of the county and to declare an emergency.
Judge, I move we suspend the rules and place ordinance 02523 on its third and final reading by title only.
Second.
Motion made by Justice Brown, second by Justice Anderson. Place 02523 on its third and final reading by title only. Sarah, please call the roll.
Justice Broughton?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Young?
Yes.
Bales?
Yes.
Hooten?
Yes.
Myers?
Yes.
Floyd?
Yes.
McGrew?
Yes.
Hunter?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Eds?
Yes.
Sarah, please read 02523 by title only.
Be it enacted by the Quorum Court of Garland County, State of Arkansas, an ordinance to be entitled, an ordinance to amend ordinance 02431 that obligated the remaining American Rescue Plan Act funds on the books of the county and to declare an emergency.
Move to adopt 02523.
Second.
Motion made by Justice Brown, second by Justice Anderson. Any discussion? Hearing none, Sarah, please call the roll.
Justice Broughton?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Young?
Yes.
Bales?
Yes.
Hooten?
Yes.
Myers?
Yes.
Floyd?
Yes.
McGrew?
Yes.
Hunter?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Eds?
Chair will entertain a motion to suspend the rules, read appropriation ordinances by title only.
So moved.
Motion made by Justice Myers, second by Justice Anderson. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Sarah, please read 02524 by title only.
Be it enacted by the Quorum Court of Garland County, State of Arkansas, an ordinance to be entitled, an ordinance to amend the 2025 Garland County Budget Ordinance 02433 to anticipate revenues, appropriate, unappropriate, and transfer funds in various budgets and for other purposes.
Move to adopt 02524.
Second.
Motion made by Justice Brown, second by Justice Hunter. Any discussion? Sarah, please call the roll.
Justice Broughton?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Young?
Yes.
Bales?
Yes.
Hooten?
Yes.
Myers?
Yes.
Floyd?
Yes.
McGrew?
Yes.
Hunter?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Appropriation ordinance 02525. Sarah, please read by title only.
Be it enacted by the Quorum Court of Garland County, State of Arkansas, an ordinance to be entitled, an ordinance to establish the annual operating budget for the calendar year 2026.
Move to adopt 02525.
Second.
Motion made by Justice Myers, second by Justice Hunter. Any discussion?
McGrew.
Justice Hooten.
There's two or three items I want to. Some of this that I've already brought up when we were in the finance committee. In this particular ordinance, it's talking about 1% step increase. also cost of living adjustment, and then increase in all late elected officials in the 2025 budget. Uh, we were provided with, it's set out by statute, is what it is, minimum and maximum salaries for the elected officials in each county. And it also sets out, it groups them according to population. Garland County is in group 6, one of 5 in that particular group, and that by population of 70,000 to 200,000. So what you want to look at is you want to compare what the salaries are of other counties as opposed to what Garland County is. You also want to take a look at what the median income is of each of those counties. Those counties are Faulkner, Saline, Sebastian, Craighead, and then Garland. Garland is the 8th largest county by population in the state. Its median income is 18th at $55,409. Oddly enough, Saline County is second at 76,000. So that gives you some idea. The other thing you want to look at is where Garland County ranks in poverty. They rank 58 out of 75. So, well, that's never good, of course, poverty, but it's not nearly as bad as 57 other counties ahead of us. And when you look at these salaries, even with the adjustment that we've been given to elected officials, county judge would still be the lowest paid out of group 6. Sheriff, still the lowest paid out of group 6. Collector, only Craighead pays less. Same with county clerk, only Craighead pays less. Craighead again, a circuit clerk. Same with assessor. The only outlier in this is the coroner. Coroner is second highest paid out of the group 6 counties. That could be, I really don't know. It could be because they have to complete a death investigation training. And if they're certified in that, which our coroner is, then the pay goes up. And we're not even paying what the maximum salary is. Maximum salary is $133,000 a year. We're not even close to any of those. All of these figures are available to the public. They're reliable in the fact that they come from the Arkansas Association of Counties, also from the National Institute of Health. You can check them out yourself. It's verifiable and they're reliable. It's not the County Judges Association. It's not the Sheriff Association that's making these claims. These are from independent sources. So, like I said, you can check them out yourself. Also, it gives all the county employees a pay raise, which if you want to retain and attract quality employees, that's what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to get the salary up because you're just not. There's already a problem retaining employees. I've talked to Judge on this, and there's already a problem retaining county employees. When you it takes so much to replace them. You lose a lot of experience, and this is going to include the sheriff's office too. The problem when you start losing deputies, which he does, to state mainly, is that not only do you lose experience, but it takes probably at least 3 to 4 months of training before you can ever get that person out on the streets by themselves. Now, they can ride with an FTO, field training officer, but your coverage gets less because they're doubling up, and sheriff can speak to that. But I think something has to be done in order to retain the people that we have. So this is not just about giving the elected officials a raise, which I think we should. And like I said, we're still the lowest, except for those I mentioned. But I think you have to retain people, and your lead time to replace, especially in the sheriff's office, is just long time. And I don't think any of us really want that. I guess the other thing that I wanted to, and I don't know if this is the proper time to talk about the prosecutor's office or not.
Sure.
What we had, first of all, let me tell you, this budget is extremely difficult. It takes hours and hours, and the Quorum Court spent, each one of them spent hours and hours on trying to figure all this out. You get, and I'm going to use the prosecutors, and she's here, and I've already talked to her, so I'm not like blindsided her. But what I was looking at the budget, and we were getting funds transferred in and out. Well, to me, because I'm not a CPA, it looked like she was asking or getting 4 new people. And then I come to find out that's really not the case. It was just 2. It was because there was a little bit of change in, and then she can talk to that. She lost VOCA funding. VOCA funding is Victims of Crime Act. She lost that funding, so we're going to need to replace, in order to have those coordinators there, we're going to have to pull from the budget in order to fund those. And I think it's estimated about 110,000. Is that right, John? Yes. So I don't have a problem with that. Here's what I do have a problem with. Not I want to put, we can't talk to the other JPs. So this is the first time they've heard this. Ethically, we're bound not to discuss what we're going to vote. What I have a problem with is where funding is coming from. I think 25,000 is coming from Metro Partnership.
Correct.
And go ahead and break it down.
So there's 55,000 coming from funding that we had set aside for operations of the senior center.
Yes.
There's 30,000 coming from the extension office budget, which leaves them with 90. And then there's 25 coming from the Metro Partnership.
And that is where I have the problem. You see, if we take the money from Metro, that's money we do not have to pay back. If you take the money from the senior center, which by the way, we're committed to that, we just broke ground on that Friday morning at 10 o'clock. If you take money from that, you're going to have to pay it back. If we take it from Metro, we don't have to pay that money back. That's just if we don't grant that money to them. So if we're going to take money, I don't want the money taken from the senior center. But I don't have a problem with the positions. I just have a problem with how it's going to be funded. So my position, we'll have to get with the other JPs to see and discuss it. But I don't have to be on the hook to pay the money back, because what we're doing is we're funding, but we're kicking the can down the road. We're going to have to pay it back. Well, why should we do that? Which is more important? I guess we're going to have, there's a limited amount of money available, so we're going to have to make some budget choices. And I don't want to make the budget choice of having to pay the money back down the road when I don't have to do it that way. So that's the comments I have on that.
So just to be clear, that funding from the senior center is coming from operations, which means it's the money, the $100,000 that we set aside, and the city also sets $100,000 aside. But we know the structure won't be complete until late in the year.
Right.
And so we was not going to use that funding anyway until it opens. And I feel comfortable in saying there's that of grace of God, there's no way to get it open before September, which would leave 45,000 to finish out the year, which would be plenty. So we don't have to pay that back. And I understand what you're saying, because it's not going to the structure. It was for operations only. I just wanted to be clear that that money was money we would have set aside. We had to set aside this year and we didn't use it. So we were setting aside 55 to go towards those. Now at the end of next year, when we have the center up and going, we won't have the money to pull away from there. That 100,000 will have to go towards operations.
Okay. And I would still take my position. I'd rather take it from Metro partnership than I would from to put anything on the senior center. I just think that we've already committed to that. I think that's what everybody's committed to. We're already into it. So if you have anything.
So let's you want to make that in the form of a motion to amend the
Yes, I would accept the budget except for that one exception.
if you want to make an amendment to change that part of the funding,
Yes,
we can go ahead.
and that's really not in the budget because it's grant and aid. Because that's what he asked for in the grant and aid. So it is, but it's not specifically in the budget.
So do you have a specific amount that you're wanting to pull?
Yeah, this grant and aid that Metro has asked for, they asked for 87.5. I would reduce that down at least. How much is senior center?
55 is what we took from the senior center.
That would take almost all of it. I would make an amendment that it'd take at least 50,000 from Met partnership rather than taking it from the senior center and the other one is
So
yeah, not want to take. Yeah, I would rather that it come from Metro partnership than the others.
So your motion is to amend the budget to take another 25 from the Metro partnership, a total of 50.
About another 25, make it 50,000. Yeah.
Okay. So
That would still leave money taken from others, but
so you're wanting, I'm just trying to be clear what the amendment would be. So the Hot Springs Metro partnership, you would reduce it by 50,000 total. The senior center, that would leave another 25 from there. So that would leave 30,000 from the senior center and then 30,000 from the extension office, which would be the total of 110.
yes, I think
correct?
when you're balancing competing interest, and that's what you're trying to do is to balance competing interest in this.
So I have a motion on the floor.
Oh, it's a motion.
Do I have a second on the amendment?
I'll second for purposes of discussion.
A second by Justice Myers for purposes of discussion to get it up here on the floor. So Justice Broughton.
Yeah. So my question is, are we taking money that we would be using next year if this gets open early enough next year? We are talking about taking money from the operation fund of the senior center.
If there was some way it would open before August.
Right.
And they told us a year on building it.
So we're probably don't need that option.
I am very confident that there's no way to get it open before September. So the amount that was left in there would fund the remainder of the year.
One thing I know is just jobs never get done on time, but it'd be great if it does. But I was just curious because what you were saying about it was out of the operation. I just wanted to clarify. So,
And that is just for one time, correct?
That's correct. It would have to be in the 27 budget again if we were to do it there. But we already know that since we're taking money from operations for the senior center and we've committed to operate the senior center, then the 27 budget, which is a long ways out, it seems like we'll be here overnight. The 27 budget would have to go back to the 110 or the 100 for the operations there.
So what is I'm sure you have some ideas on some long-term plans on what we're going to, or are we just hoping to find money to replace the operating budget.
So the AAA area agency on aging will put this out for bid. They'll do an RFQ to see for qualifications to operate it. If they don't, then they get grants to operate the senior center. But we're wanting to make sure we were committed. This group is committed to making sure that we have the best services and the best center. So we committed 100,000, and the city committed 100,000. Now, at any budget, we can not do that, but it might affect the operations of it. So the city has pledged 100,000 annually, and the county has pledged 100,000 annually. I think that's something we'll review every year, Justice Broughton, before it's done. But I think it's something that is going to go for good cause. Justice Young.
Correct me if I'm right. And I speaking with Dudley Webb, my city director, for about the 100,000 city's commitment, that they did not even budget that for 26, expecting they could do an emergency budgeting, but
I haven't
they
seen their
didn't I don't believe they expected the center to even be open. I don't think that's even there for 26. They're expecting to start in 27. So
Well,
Just-
they haven't seen me push on Mike Harrison.
I may be wrong, but I think I read in the newspaper that they did appropriate the 100,000. I may be wrong. But
yeah, I would be glad if it's there. Dudley said he was going to try to revisit that, and maybe he did. I didn't hear about it.
don't quote me on it, but I think I read in the Senate record that the city did appropriate 100,000.
I think that the budget articles, I think that there's a line in there that said it also included the 100,000 for the operations. But what we'll do is quarterly, at the end of March, we're going to review and see where we're at. And I'll get Mr. Harrison to give us a projected timeline on it. Are we ahead of schedule? Are we behind schedule? And then the end of June, we'll do the same thing. So we've got some idea. And at that point, if they haven't put it in there, then we'll be going to them saying, hey, we're going to be open.
Right. Yeah. And my statement wasn't to say they were objecting to. They're still on board to do that.
Yes.
They just didn't
Yes.
budget it originally in their
They've also
26 budget, not expecting it to be open.
They've also aside from one permitting fee that had to go to the state of Arkansas, they did not charge us for the permitting fees on that process. So they've dropped a lot of fees already. And we're waiting on one final approval from RDOT on some mulching that has to be done. But other than that, we've got everything in place, and they were very helpful, as you remember, when we had to change the zoning on it because of the new zoning that took place last March. They rushed that through in a matter of days rather than weeks. So they've been on board with it, and I think they will continue to be. Obviously, we don't know who might be on the board next year. We don't know who might be on the court next year, but I think that this is in the hearts and minds of absolutely every citizen of Garland County.
Let me ask you this question then. There's probably going to be cost overruns, more than likely, to the senior center. If we appropriate what was $100,000 for operations fund, that in essence would be reserved in case we needed to transfer. Am I right on that or not? If we need to pay for cost overruns,
We could transfer it from there, but it's going to have to go to capital, and it's not in capital right now. It's in operations. So you could transfer from anywhere. If we have money left over, it's just as easy to transfer it from anywhere else. But I will say this: I am pursuing some donations, and we've got a grant out right now that I've had every legislator that we have send a letter, and actually now they're making phone calls to the point where AEDC is saying, hey, can you stop calling me for a little while? But we applied for 1.5 million from a grant, a community service grant. And one of the things that it said it was to apply to was senior centers. So I'm hoping that we get something out of that. We've got a pretty good commitment from the Oaklawn Foundation for $500,000. And I'm going to go meet with 50 for the Future and some other civic groups to try to get any donations that we can to offset the cost of this. So if there's a cost overrun, and I don't do change orders well, Mrs. Hooten, and Mike Harrison's aware of that. We don't, unless there's something that we see that we want to change when we're coming out of the ground. We've been through this. We've been very thorough with the architecture and engineering. And that's Mr. Harrison's job as a construction manager to make sure that we stay within budget.
To Justice Broad's
Thank you.
question earlier, I think what you were looking for is when we get to 2027, where are we going to come up with the money that this 55,000 that we're not appropriating?
Yeah.
What we talked about in finance, the budget hearing, was trying to either get a VOCA grant potentially again, or some other type of grant that could pay for the positions, or re-looking at our other grant and aid programs at budget next year is what we're hoping for. Because if we don't have unless we just have a exorbitant increase in sales tax revenue, which I don't expect to happen, but maybe I hope it does. Don't get me wrong, and all of our other revenue sources, we may have to look at pulling that 55,000 from somewhere else next year.
Right.
I think that was where you were kind of going.
Yeah,
so.
I probably didn't word it very good. I would be kind of curious to hear from, I see Gary's not here, but Cole on if we're considering a motion to cut their budget even more. I'm curious what they would have to say.
So that would only leave $30,000 or thereabouts if we take 25 and another 25.
They're at 87.5 now, so if you take 50, it would leave them at 37.5.
I don't, so Cole McCaskill, Vice President of Economic Development. I wish Gary were here tonight. He's out of town at an economic development meeting. I don't have any official budgeting function in our organization. I think our annual budget's somewhere between $350,000 and $400,000. So that sort of gives you a scale of what, how significant this loss would be to our annual budget. Most of it is in administration and operation. So it would probably be a staff person.
Yeah. Okay. So the county gives money and the city gives money. Where does the rest of that come from?
Sure,
if you don't
so
mind me asking.
Sure. The city gives $100,000 a year, which they just approved at last month's meeting. We were asking for $87,500 from the county this year. About half of the majority, or the remaining funds, about 50% comes from private industry. So some of the larger businesses in Hot Springs, many of the manufacturers, many of the banks, the hospitals, and some smaller businesses as well, and some individuals as well.
Okay. All right. No, I guess that's all. Yeah.
Thank you.
Sharon.
Sharon Pratt, and I live in District 3, and I have to side with Mr. Hooten. I think the county would not be making wise decisions to pull the money from the senior center. We all know grants are drying up. There's nothing to say that we take 55,000 from the senior center for this coming year and we're going to apply for grants and we're going to hope to get them. The VOCA positions, I think, serve an important purpose. Having those people in the prosecutor's office, God knows, read the newspaper. We have enough crime. I don't want us kicking the can down the road and then hunting and trying to find money. Let's cut where we can know we can cut and better serve people. So I'm with Ben from Metro.
Any other discussion?
I guess my main thing is it a lack of ROI that we're discussing with Metro Partnership? Is it that we don't feel that we're getting a return on our investment? If it is, I'm going to say that because we're cutting down quite a bit of their operating budget, that will change the dynamic quite a bit, I would assume. I don't know much about this stuff, but so if that's the discussion, if the idea is they're bringing in economic development, and if they are bringing a return on our investment, then we need to think about the ramifications of that, of cutting their budget over half of what we're contributing. But if they are not giving a return on investment, then that should be openly discussed. It would be my thoughts on the matter. But
So I did meet with someone from representative from Metro Partnership and from the Extension Office on the initial cuts that we made in the budget. And at that time, I didn't hear any indication. Actually, Extension Office meeting with their regional director, they had some money put back, so they're going to be fine. They're not going to have to remove any employees. But we didn't get that far with the Metro Partnership, so I don't know the number of employees. I don't know how that would have even affected them for this. Bob, did you want to speak to this? I know that you had told me you wanted to speak to it. Not trying to interrupt you, Michael, but just everybody.
By the way, let me start off by saying thank you for that senior center. I hope to be old enough one day to use it.
I hope you are too.
It wasn't that funny. At any rate, it sounds like from everything I'm hearing that you could use a lot of money in a lot of areas. And I'm just sitting there thinking, our sheriff's department, our justice department, our prosecutor's office, the courts, you guys, you accomplish something every day. You can't look at any of those individuals at the end of the day and say, did you not accomplish anything? Because they did. They deserve the money. Concurrently, at the same time, the Quorum Court has authorized money that your return on investment with the Metro Partnership is next to nil. I mean, this group, what can they tell you they accomplished at the end of the day? I mean, I've heard them tell folks, city and county, oh, we brought 12 jobs to town. But they never mentioned the 20 that left town. And I am a little concerned about the fact that Metro Partnership doesn't have a single certified economic developer on staff. At least I think that's still the case. They don't have a realtor on staff, and they represent the Majestic property. And the Majestic property, I mean, I know we have attorneys, the sheriff, the prosecutor here this evening, so I have to be careful not to libel or slander myself, right? Metro Partnership has lied to us. Flat lied to us. Didn't put that on the record. We have proof, recorded proof, that they've done that. And they've not accomplished anything that I've seen. I would recommend you reduce their cut to zero. That's my recommendation.
Thank you, Bob. Okay, we have an amendment on the floor. Justice Jones, did you have something?
Yeah, I was just wondering if Bob could share like a little bit of what he's talking about as far as that we've been lied to. Give us an idea of what we're just talking about.
Do you have an hour?
No, no.
Let me just bring up a couple then, since you asked the question, and thank you for the question. The most recent presentation I heard from the Metro Partnership to the city, we've heard it before. No, we did not have any interest from outside groups that wanted to invest. And I dare not use a bad word here, even though it would be more appropriate. I can show you documents that there were outside investors. $200 million hotel, for example, $350 million total for just downtown investments. And they were basically shown the door. Billionaires from Dallas. We also heard, and I think this was in the newspaper, that this group from Dallas wasn't really interested. They didn't even put up escrow. No, they didn't. But I can show you tomorrow, if you want to see it, a copy of the check for $2.1 million to the city of Hot Springs. They returned it. Were those not lies?
Can I ask a couple questions about that?
Sure.
this is very broad, that information I had on those investors, if it was from Dallas and if it's the same people, that was like years before, early on in the Majestic marketing, years before Metro Partnership ever got involved.
No, Jimmy, I know that Metro would like you to think that. I can
So if you're
additionally
talking about
I can additionally show you emails from last year's president.
somebody that's involved with the football team in Texas, is it somebody that's involved with the football team in Texas?
Yeah,
Okay,
you
it
could-
was
you
a
could
couple of
say
years
that.
before Metro Partnership ever touched
The one of the investors
the
was
Arlington
Blue
property.
Star. One of them was
Bob,
Metro
that's apples and
Partners.
oranges. That's apples and oranges. It was a couple of years before Metro Partnership ever got involved.
I can
You're
show
taking
you.
something historic and applying it to what they did or didn't do in their responsibilities.
I can show you emails.
That's
Express-
not a 2-year-old email. Or it's not before Metro Partnership, because I know who you're talking about, and I remember
It was the Metro Partnership president that sent the email. Okay.
Okay, I'm just saying, if it's that group that, let's say, is involved maybe with a big football team, that was well before Metro
Well, that was
Partnership
one of
was
four
involved.
investors.
Okay.
Blue Star, which you can imagine who owns Blue Star.
Yeah. I think
Okay.
that's all. Yeah.
Any other discussion?
We're kind of all over the place. There's one on, we're talking about two different issues. Bob, I don't have any more questions for you. Thank you, though.
Thank you.
Just right, I hit it. Are we talking about needing the funding for potentially our senior citizen center or something else? Or are we talking about a lack of confidence in the Metro Partnership? I'm more concerned about our senior citizens and about the prosecuting attorney's office than guessing about lies or guessing about whatever, the performance. I think if we're going to make a decision based on the senior citizen center funding, it should be based on that and not on anything else. That's just my personal opinion.
I think that's quite fair. I guess my idea originally, though, one employee with the Metro, though, that's if that is what that costs them, I agree. Funding the senior citizen centers of utmost importance. I guess the idea was, if it's economic development, then that's tax dollars. Tax dollars brings us funding, brings us the budget, and so it wasn't. I was saying, if it's not doing that, then cutting it won't hurt. If it is doing that, then cutting could have downstream effects. And I wanted to openly discuss what, so it wasn't so much about lack of confidence in the Metro Partnership. I was just trying to lay out, well, if this is what they're doing, if economic development is what they're doing, we do rely on those tax dollars. So, but I agree with you. The Senior Citizen Center is, we all have agreed that this is priority. So
we have an amendment on the floor. Did you want to speak to the amendment or just the ordinance in itself, Mr. Fleming? Okay, right now we're discussing the funding for the Metro Partnership. Yes, sir.
I hate that we're pitted one great thing versus another great thing. I just wanted to remind you that at our last meeting 2 weeks ago, we came and presented the results of our efforts for the year. 165 new primary manufacturing jobs that pay 23 million in annual payroll, over 80 million in capital investment. To your point, Justice Broughton, economic development does have a return. It's different year by year. This was a good year for us. We have a lot of good things carrying into next year. Part of the report I'm about to give is going to talk about how we have another manufacturer that's going to be new to the market to hopefully announce in the next 2 or 3 months. But those are the results. And included in that was a handout with the local economic impact on tax rolls, on local businesses, things of that nature. So I just wanted to remind you of that. Thank you.
Excuse me. Is this what you're talking about?
Yes,
Hand
sir.
out?
That's one of the handouts. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I understand. So you're saying that Mountain Valley Water, that expansion was because of Metro?
We worked extensively on that project. We were first contacted confidentially with from a site consultant in the spring of this past year to begin negotiating incentives on that project.
And Miranda luxury pontoons, you were responsible for that one?
We were in the same situation. We were extremely involved in that one.
Well, tell me how you were involved, I guess is what I was wondering.
We learned about their need for new space and helped them locate that space and navigate the incentive process with the state of Arkansas.
But Miranda is not even in this county, is it?
Well, Express Boats is on this side of the county line, and the most appropriate facility they could find at the time was just on the other side of the county
It
line.
is
You're
actually
correct.
Hot Spring County,
It's Hot
isn't
Spring County. You're
Yeah.
correct.
it? Okay.
Cole, when you work, you were you through, Ben? I'm sorry, are you through?
Yes, go ahead.
When you work with a corporation or company like that, and they're showing interest in our market, and you're working with them in that way, are there usually other markets that are incentivizing them to come in?
Yes, it is usually highly competitive. Like I'm thinking back to 2021, the Fiber Pro project. There were two other southeastern states that offered a very nice incentive package for that project to go to those other two states.
Did Hot Springs or Garland County have the facilities or the tools, the people or staff that would have been there working like Metro Partnership can work with a company like that to incentivize them or to invite them or to work with them, entice them to come here?
We did. I worked on that project.
I don't think city or county resources have the resources that you have, though. Is what I'm saying.
Sure.
I believe you guys are doing a great job.
Thank you. For the last few years, we have worked like a contractor for the city and the county to perform economic development services.
Thank you. I'm through. Thank you.
When did he brought this up, and I was just wondering myself, when did Metro Partnership begin?
The original iteration was founded in 1955 as the Garland County Industrial Development Corp. And in '84, we changed our name to the Garland County Economic Development Corporation. And then in 2011 to the Hot Springs Metro Partnership.
Okay, so when he said that, what Mr. Gerger was talking about, it was 2 years before y'all existed, that wasn't the case?
What I believe what he's referring to is a group out of Texas that was interested in the Majestic site. That group, affiliates of that group or that group themselves had that site under contract, so to speak, with the city of Hot Springs, and sometime around 2020 for either 6 months or 12 months. I don't recall exactly, which was before our involvement in it. And those things went sour after their term.
Okay. So I have this list here. It said economic development 2017 to 2025. Out of this list, which ones were not here? Other than, I mean, every one of these appears to be.
In the far right column, there should be either new or expansion. The new would be the new company to town. The expansion would be the existing company.
Ritter Communications. Well, it's got Fiber Pro, but Fiber Pro's been here.
Fiber Pro was not here before
Okay.
that operation. I'll also make a note that in new primary job creation and manufacturing job creation, it's a static that about 75% of new jobs come from existing industries. And so that's why we spend a lot of time on business retention and expansion. It's a very common practice in economic development. It's a lot easier to help the existing manufacturers grow and create jobs than it is to go out and try to recruit new manufacturing to town. That's very hard to do, very costly to do. And the majority of the new jobs come from existing industry anyway. So that's why you'll see about 75% of those projects are existing industries.
Right, yeah, I noticed that.
Those aren't, that's not sexy, but it's a reality in our business.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
It's a bit of a rock and a hard place, right? Because we're talking about two very important things. If it's when it comes to economic development factor, I would say someone has to do the economic development. I think there is incentive structures in place that make certain places more attractive or less attractive, and we're paying y'all to um, subsidize that effort. And we will, to Jimmy's point, be hard pressed to fund that effort without the help of the Metro Partnership being connected to the Chamber of Commerce, and that it's kind of a bit of a blob. It would be hard to pay a group of people to do that job for cheaper than what we're paying now. I would like to see a good return on investment. Trades is very important to me. I like what y'all do with trades. I like the idea of getting young people involved in the trades. I think it's not, it's like the one job AI isn't going to take. I mean, it might take your job, but it won't take mine as fast, So I like the trades, and I like the things y'all do with that. I think it's important. I would like to see a good return on investment. And if we're getting any return on investment, it far exceeds the 100,000 is my issue. Otherwise, I would say I would have y'all lose your employee to make sure we fund the senior citizen center. So, like I said, I'm a bit of a rock and hard place for sure. But
any other discussion?
I do have a question or point of clarification. As a member of the Finance Committee, unless something has changed from when we came out of Finance, the additional 25,000 that Ben Hooten is requesting is not needed for 2026.
We had a balanced budget when we came out of
to
Finance.
fund the senior center if it opens in September of this year. There was enough money in there to pay for the need through 2026. We would revisit in the budget for 2027 if any additional cuts needed to be made in grants and aid or other areas to fund or to make up the 55,000 that was taken out. So unless something has changed that I'm not aware of, we had a balanced budget, and I'm not understanding where the need for the additional 25,000 ask is coming from. Could you enlighten me, Mr. Hooten?
I'm not asking for additional 25,000.
You're asking for an additional 25,000 to come out of the Metro Partnership funding to fund the senior center. The senior center was 100% funded through the remainder of 26 based on the projection of completion. So help me understand where the need of 25,000 from the Metro Partnership is needed in the 2026 budget.
The budget was supposed to be split up between three different sources, and I think you're the one that suggested that.
Correct. I suggested
to fund the VOCA people. So
exactly.
That was where the money
and it came out of three. It came out of three areas.
Is not the money come from senior center, but to come from Metro Partnership instead.
Right, but we're not going to need the 25,000. We left enough money in the senior center budget to fund it through 26 if it's completed in September. So we're not deficient in the budget for 26. So that's what I'm trying to understand where we're needing the 25,000, because we're not going to be paying anything until September. We took 55,000 out of that account and used it to help fund the VOCA because we weren't going to need the money, the 55,000 in the senior center. So the senior center is still going to open. It's still going to have the appropriate funding through the end of the year in 25. So I'm just trying to figure out if something has changed in the budget that I am in my mind not seeing, where we need the additional 25,000. I mean, the construction is not expected to come online any earlier than September.
They told me 9 months, and as you can see when we were there, the pad is not quite prepared yet.
Right. So I'm just trying to understand, by going through the budget numbers, I'm trying to see where the additional 25,000 is needed in to go back to the senior center because enough money was left in the senior center account to fund it in 26. That's my question.
Okay. All I'm saying is that I don't want the money coming out of that account. I think when you're balancing a budget, it's got to come from someplace, but it should come from Metro rather than from the senior center.
So we have a amendment to the budget on the floor that does just what Justice Newton said.
Yes.
So if we've had enough discussion, I think we'll call the roll on that amendment. This is an amendment to the budget only. It's not for the budget. It's an amendment. Are we all clear on what the amendment is? It's a change where the funding is coming from for the vocal positions for the prosecutor. Is that correct? So our initial budget showed that there would be 25,000 coming from the Metro, 30,000 coming from the extension office, and 55,000 coming from operations of the senior center. And this amendment would make 50,000 come from the Metro partnership, 30,000 come from the senior center operations, and 30,000 come from the extension office. Did I state that correctly?
Yes, I believe that's
Okay. That's the amendment that we have on the floor to the budget. Sarah, would you please call the roll?
Justice Broughton,
No.
Anderson,
No.
Jones,
No.
Young,
No.
Bales,
No.
Hooten,
Yeah.
Myers,
No.
Floyd,
No.
McGrew,
No.
Hunter,
No.
Brown,
No.
Eds,
No.
Okay. Amendment fails. We'll go back to discussion of the budget as a whole. Mr. Fleming, I believe that you wanted to speak.
Let me say, like a preacher friend of mine said a long time ago, that the mind can only comprehend what the seat can endure. And I'm going to tell you, my seat is ready to go home. What I want to share with you tonight, and I'm going to plead with you guys, when the shades of night fell tonight, 25% of Arkansas went to bed hungry. Ben mentioned that, if I understood that right, that in Arkansas, in Garland County, 56% is at the poverty level. Restate it again. But
What
let
it
me
said
say,
was we ranked 58th in the state in poverty. Actually, the poverty rate is 16.7 with 17.1 18-year-olds and under being in poverty.
all right, and that's high enough, and yet we're on 58. And yet we come tonight as a group, and I'm sure all of you guys are living at the poverty level tonight, and that's why this budget is where we are. The elected officials, every one of them in the Quorum Court, their base salary right now is over 88,000. That's the treasurer, that's the collector, that's the assessor. These folks like this, their basic salary is over 88,000.
That's not the quorum court.
Sir?
You said the quorum court.
I mean the Quorum Court.
No,
Yeah,
I'm
sorry.
saying that's where our
stand
salary isn't.
correct. The Quorum Court is $888 every session that you meet. But in these, and then our elected official of Darrell and of the sheriff, their basic salary is over $101,000. Had I known this, I would have gotten the salaries of every one of our elected officials. But why come up to 15,000 across the board for the county elected officials? Why is it that you cannot agree with the 3% COLA or the 9% cost of living adjustment? This is going to put every one of our elected officials way over 100,000 plus all the benefits and retirements, and there's a list of benefits, and I will have available to everybody in the audience and all next month concerning the total salaries and benefits of all of our elected officials. So if you want a copy of it in the audience, you'll be here next month.
Mr. Fleming, your
Yes.
time is up. 3 minutes is up, Mr. Fleming.
What I would
All right,
say,
I'm going to speak to old business and new business tonight.
Mr. Fleming, your time is up. Your 3 minutes is up. You're actually speaking to an ordinance currently. You're speaking to the ordinance currently.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. And the ordinance is involves $15,000 on top of what I just mentioned, raised for next year.
That's next year's budget.
This since 2017, and I've never seen this type of raise across the board with the condition of our county and those that are trying to supply and meet the needs of the hungry. And
Mr. Fleming, your time is up.
I'll speak.
If I could just address that, so, and I think all the former court members got copies of this, what all the Group 6 county pays, the county judge, sheriff.
Justice Hooten, could you speak closer to your mic?
Oh, I'm
so
sorry.
we get it on record.
I think all the JP's got a copy of this. It's from the salary of elected officials. Once again, that came from Arkansas Association of Counties. And it breaks down and gives you each one what the county judge makes in each of the Group 6. That's Faulkner, Saline, Sebastian, Craighead, and Garland. And it gives what the $15,000 raise would bring the county judge, the sheriff to. Both of those, even without, that's assuming that the other counties don't give a raise. They would still be the lowest paid out of the Group 6. The collector, second lowest. County clerk, circuit clerk, assessor, second lowest. All the others pay more. So, coroner, like I said, was on the outlier. It is the second highest. So, and this is like, we didn't base this on just out of the blue. I mean, there is evidence based for this. And like I said, anybody can check that out if they want to. So, and I think, and then two, that's the 15,000 to the elected officials, but it also, this budget also includes a salary increase of 9% and about 10% for all the employees. And I think we're going to have that to attract and retain quality people. Anyway, I just want to reiterate that.
Mr. Fleming, they are justices of the peace. They are elected to represent the people of their district, and so they speak and try to define what's going on. They have the documentation, they have the information, so they get to speak to it.
Call for the question. Call for the
Mr.
question.
Fleming,
Call for the question.
second.
we have a motion and a second on the floor to approve O-2525. Sarah, would you please call the roll?
Justice Broughton,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Bales,
Yes.
Hooten,
Yes.
Myers,
Yes.
Floyd,
Yes.
McGrew,
Yes.
Hunter,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Eds.
Yes.
All right, thank you. The budget is approved as is. Cole, do you have a report tonight, sir?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you all for your support. We do not envy you in having to make these tough budget decisions. Very short report tonight because we just reported 2 Mondays ago. I would like to introduce, we do have our incoming chair of the board, Carol Bales, with us tonight, and then also Chuck Lanius, who's a partnership board member. He's general manager of Resort Cable TV. And we do have some partnership staff, Cheryl Staggs, finance and operations director, Gary Jackson, workforce director is with us, and then chamber vice president Vicki Gillum is with us as well. So starting the day after we last met on November 25th, as I mentioned, we met with a new manufacturer that's coming to town. Hopefully hear more on that in the near future. On December 1st, we met with the ownership of Bago, which is a local manufacturer, world headquarters right here in Garland County, talking about some future plans there. On December 2nd, we hosted the Leadership Hot Springs Youth Class for a full day. 1 or 2 speakers every hour all day, field trips to 2 different manufacturers to try to teach these high school kids how the economy works in Hot Springs. That day, Gary and I also met with the Hanamaki Toy Museum leadership that was here from Japan. And then Gary and I also met with some folks that are involved in a big real estate deal in the industrial park. It's going to result in another new manufacturing business being created. And then finally that day, I spoke with 2 of our aerospace companies about a new opportunity at the state level to make them aware of that. On December 3rd, I had a call with an AEDC project manager about one of our ongoing economic development projects. On December 4th, our whole partnership staff, plus Carol Bales as incoming chair, attended a virtual work session with AEDC on some of the new state incentives that were created at this year's legislative session. And then later that day, the chamber hosted Ice on Ice, the big annual fundraiser for Project Hope Food Bank. On December 5th, Gary Jackson taught the workforce presentation to the Hot Springs High School entire 10th grade class. Many of our folks at the chamber and volunteers came to the Garland County Senior Citizens groundbreaking, and congratulations to all of your hard work. We've been following along at all the meetings for many years and understand how big of a lift that has been for y'all, so congratulations. Later that day, Gary met with Weyerhaeuser to talk about next year's Academic Excellence Banquet. This Sunday, Gary headed to Dallas for a Southern Economic Development Council meeting where he was still there today. He'll be back tomorrow. And then tomorrow, we're hosting the Adult Leadership Hot Springs class all day. Very similar program, 1 or 2 speakers an hour, 2 field trips to 2 manufacturers to kind of get these up and coming leaders schooled up on how the local economy works in Hot Springs. So happy to answer any questions.
I was going to ask it. When Mr. Singarelli shared with us about the Majestic, that's been brought up a little bit tonight, the Majestic site, he said here in a month or 2 we were going to hear about it, and I was just wondering if there was any updates on that.
Sure. So we have an official contract with the city of Hot Springs to market the Majestic site. That comes to an end at the end of this year. We expect all proposals to be in by the end of the year. And then we have the first quarter of next year to rate and rank those proposals and present them to the city board. So by March 31st, 26 is the hard deadline. All of that information will be public by that time.
What happens if it doesn't, nothing happens by that date?
There is no action. Our marketing contract is over on March 31st, 26, and so we might have to go back to the drawing board, or anything is possible at that time.
Okay.
I don't foresee that happening. I know there are at least 2 strong proposals.
Okay. All right.
Move for approval of the
Cool.
December 2026 report. One more thing here. Excuse me. Is that all right? The article I saw today, this is just a scoop, you guys, if you hadn't seen it, is Northwest Arkansas news report that Allied Van Lines had done a survey between November 1st of 24 and November of 25, 1 year period, and Arkansas ranked number 1 in inbound migration in America for relocation. And so we're number 1 in the nation for migration over the last 1 year period.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So motion made by Justice Myers, second by Justice Broughton to approve the report. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Thank you, Cole. Appreciate you being here.
Yes, sir.
Thank you to the rest of your staff that's here as well. Acknowledge of overtime report. You'll notice it's up just a little bit this month, and it's actually payroll from November, where the tax season when the tax collector had to work on a weekend and night. You'll see a little increase there. And then the landfill has been really, really busy, and we've been a little bit shorthanded out there. And so Billy's mechanic, a truck driver, director of the landfill. He also works in the transfer station, and he's had to go run the 7 North transfer station for a little while as well. So he's got his hands full. If you see him, pat him on the back. But he has to do it all, and he does a great job out there.
Move for acknowledgement of the overtime report for November.
Second.
Motion made by Justice Myers, second by Justice McGrew. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Old business?
Why, several months ago, there was a question as to, is this the last of the bonuses? And you answered yes. And then you turned around in November and gave additional bonuses from the American Rescue Fund and from the CARES Act. And this question is to Susan Ashmore. I have a copy showing $7,500 was given from the American Rescue Fund, which was on this side of the paper, and at the top it said American Rescue Fund. On the other side of the paper, it says the CARES Act. And if you look at every name that received $7,500 and you look across, there's another $7,500. So my question to you tonight, last month or whenever you approved these bonuses from the American Rescue Fund and you received approved bonuses from the CARES Act, the first time it's ever been done, it's always come out of the American Rescue Fund. Did employees receive 2 bonuses in November?
Mr. Fleming?
And if not, why? Yes.
Susan doesn't approve anything.
That's
She's
right, but I
an
have
employee.
the
We're
right to
elected
ask her.
officials.
Mr. Fleming, Susan doesn't have to answer anything you've asked, and that's not correct. It's always been broke up, partial CARES Act and partial the ARPA money. And so, quite honestly, if we still had some of that funding left next year, we would try to give all of the employees a bonus as well, if you want to call it that, because we believe that we want all of our employees to not have to live in poverty to work for Garland County. There's absolutely no reason they should. And for what some of our people make, you cannot raise a family, you cannot have a home, you cannot have a vehicle. And we want to make sure that at least the people that work for Garland County, that do all the jobs that nobody else wants to do. And quite honestly, one of our road department workers got run over. So, there's a lot that goes into it that people never see. But the call outs at night, and each individual got 1 premium pay in the month of November. There was not given out 2. It was just split as to the matter of the way the funding would come out.
But why did you say yes when the question was asked? Is this the last of the bonuses?
2026 was the last of the bonuses, Mr. Fleming. And like I said, if we had more funding, if we had more ARPA money left, we would be giving, 2025 was the last of the funding. If we had more and we could give it to everybody next year, I would ask to do that too.
What is the latest on the accusation of sexual misconduct in the collector's office? Has the county been sued?
Mr. Fleming, nobody on this court is involved in that.
You got it.
Mr. Fleming, no one on this court is involved in that.
All right. Another question. I'll call the gentleman forward. Last month, at the end of the meeting, District 7 candidate Robert Luton came over to me.
Mr. Fleming, Mr. Fleming, I'm going to ask you to stop. Mr. Fleming, we're not going to talk about politics. I'm not going to be quiet, Mr. Fleming. Take your seat. Your time is up, and we're not talking about politics in here. This is the Garland County Quorum Court, Mr. Fleming. We're not going to talk about anything political. This is Mr. Fleming. You are not going to talk about anything political. Mr. Fleming, please take your seat. Please take your seat, Mr. Fleming.
Have me moved out here. My lawyer said let him know.
Any other business, ladies and gentlemen?
Move to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Thank you.
I,